Financial world is very complex and handles billions of transactions every day. Criminals and their accomplices are finding out loopholes to conduct money laundering and involving them into corruption and terrorist financing. Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, the most influential organization for setting rules to combat money laundering, has been working on different typologies. They have set 40 recommendations, and those have been set as global standards for combating money laundering and terrorist financing. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of anti-money laundering, or AML. And specifically, we're going to unpack two of the most critical recommendations from the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. We are talking about Recommendation 3 and Recommendation 4. To supplement Recommendation 4, we will also discuss Recommendation 5 with correlated references. These are absolute cornerstones of the global fight against financial crime, so if you're in finance, compliance, or just want to understand how the system works, you're in the right place. This group covers money laundering and confiscation. First of all, let us discover what the Recommendation 3 says. It says, countries should criminalize money laundering on the basis of the Vienna Convention and the Palermo Convention. Countries should apply the crime of money laundering to all serious offenses, with a view to including the widest range of predicate offenses. What is Palermo Convention? The United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, or in short form UNTOC, adopted in Palermo, Italy in 2000 and effective from 2003. Is the primary international legal instrument designed to combat organized crime. With 192 parties, it mandates international cooperation, criminalization of serious offenses, and the protection of witnesses and victims. The purpose of Palermo Convention is set as to promote cooperation to prevent and combat transnational organized crime more effectively. Key offenses covered in this convention are participation in an organized criminal group, money laundering, corruption, and obstruction of justice. It requires states to implement extradition, mutual legal assistance or MLA, and joint investigations. Palermo Convention also sets 3 separate protocols to cover wide ranges of crimes. There are Trafficking in Persons Protocol, aims to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking, especially of women and children. Smuggling of Migrants Protocol focuses on stopping the smuggling of migrants by land, air, and sea. And Firearms Protocol targets the illicit manufacturing and trafficking of firearms, their parts, and ammunition. Moreover, it detailed the measures that countries should take for implementation and status are Custodian, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, or shortly UNODC. Challenges. While widely ratified, the convention faces criticism for having weak, voluntary compliance mechanisms and being slow to adapt to modern digital age crime. Review mechanism. An implementation review mechanism was established in 2018 to monitor, through self-assessments and peer reviews, how states are complying with the treaty. So, Recommendation 3 specifically referred Palermo Convention to fulfill the targets of prevention of money laundering by coordinated efforts and standard settings. Let's start with Recommendation 4, which is all about confiscation and provisional measures. So what does that even mean? In simple terms, it means countries must have the power to freeze, seize, and ultimately confiscate the dirty money and assets that criminals get from their illegal activities. It's not just about putting bad guys in jail. It's about hitting them where it really hurts their wallets. The idea is to take away the financial incentive for crime. If a drug trafficker knows that not only could they go to prison, But their fancy cars, luxury apartments, and fat bank accounts could all be taken away. It changes the risk-reward calculation completely. This recommendation says that countries need to have strong laws in place to make this happen. So how does it work in practice? Let's say law enforcement is investigating a large-scale fraud operation. Under Recommendation 4, they should be able to get a court order to freeze the suspect's bank accounts immediately. This is a provisional measure. It stops the criminals from moving the money and hiding it somewhere else while the investigation is ongoing. It's like hitting the pause button on their finances. Then, if the suspects are convicted, the confiscation part kicks in. The court can order that the frozen assets be permanently taken away from the criminals and transferred to the state. This isn't just about the direct cash they made. It also applies to property or assets that were bought with the proceeds of crime. For example, if a criminal used laundered money to buy a yacht, that yacht can be confiscated. The recommendation also covers what's called instrumentalities of a crime. This means any property that was used to commit the crime. A classic example is the car used as a getaway vehicle in a bank robbery, or the computer equipment used to run a sophisticated online scam. The goal is to strip criminals of every tool and every reward associated with their illegal enterprise. To make this effective, the FATF says countries should consider something called non-conviction-based confiscation. This is a really powerful tool. Sometimes it's impossible to get a criminal conviction. The main suspect might flee the country or pass away, or there might not be enough evidence for a criminal trial. In these cases, non-conviction-based confiscation allows authorities to still go after the dirty assets. They would have to prove in a civil court that the assets are linked to crime, but they wouldn't need a criminal conviction of the person. It's a game changer for recovering illicit funds. Think about a major international drug lord who operates from a country with no extradition treaty. He's untouchable. But if he has millions of dollars stashed in banks around the world, non-conviction-based confiscation allows other countries to seize that money, even if they can't arrest him. This is a huge part of disrupting global criminal networks. So to sum up Recommendation 4, it's all about having the legal framework to freeze, seize, and confiscate criminal proceeds and the tools used to commit crimes, making sure that crime truly does not pay. Now let's move on to Recommendation 5. This one is directly related. And it deals with the terrorist financing offense. While money laundering is about cleaning dirty money, terrorist financing is about raising and moving funds for terrorist activities, and the source of this money can be legal or illegal. That's a key distinction. It should be a serious crime, punishable by significant jail time. This isn't just about the person who carries out the attack. It's about everyone in the financial chain who supports them. The scope here is incredibly broad. The recommendation states that the offense should apply to any person who willfully provides or collects funds by any means, with the intention that they be used or in the knowledge that they are to be used to carry out a terrorist act. Let's break that down. Provides or collects funds can mean anything from a large wire transfer to a small donation online. By any means it doesn't matter if it's cash, cryptocurrency, or a transfer through a formal bank. The intention or knowledge part is crucial. The person doesn't have to be a hardcore terrorist themselves. If they knowingly handle money that's destined for a terrorist group, they're committing a crime. For example, imagine a person running a small charity. They receive donations from various people, but they know that a portion of that money is being secretly funneled to a terrorist organization to buy weapons. Under Recommendation 5, that person is guilty of terrorist financing, even if the original donations were from legitimate, well-meaning people. the recommendation also makes it clear that the offense should cover financing for terrorist organizations and individual terrorists, even if there isn't a link to a specific terrorist act. You don't have to prove the money was used for a particular bombing. Just proving it was provided to a known terrorist group is enough. This helps authorities intervene early and disrupt plots before they can even happen. Furthermore, the person who attempts to commit the offense, participates as an accomplice, or organizes or directs others to commit the offense should also be held criminally liable. This creates a wide net that can capture the entire support network, from the big shot financiers down to the small-time money mules. Let's connect this back to Recommendation 4. If someone is convicted of terrorist financing under the laws set up by Recommendation 5, then the funds and assets involved can be confiscated under the powers established by Recommendation 4. See how they work together? You criminalize the act, and then you take away the money. It's a 1-2 punch against terrorism. So let's look at a hypothetical scenario where both come into play. Authorities identify a network that's raising funds for a terrorist group through a series of shell companies. First, using the principles of Recommendation 5, they can prosecute the individuals involved for the crime of terrorist financing. Simultaneously, using the provisional measures from Recommendation 4, they can freeze the bank accounts of all the shell companies to prevent the money from being moved once the individuals are convicted. The government can then use the confiscation powers of Recommendation 4 to permanently seize all the money in those accounts. The funds can then be used in some jurisdictions to compensate victims of terrorism. This process not only punishes the offenders and disrupts the terrorist group's operations, but also provides a measure of justice for the victims. It's really important to understand that these recommendations are not laws themselves. They are standards. The FATF sets the standards, and then it evaluates how well each country is implementing them through a process of mutual evaluations. Countries that fail to meet these standards can be placed on a gray list or blacklist, which can have severe economic consequences. It can make it harder for them to access the global financial system, which puts a lot of pressure on them to strengthen their laws and enforcement. In essence, Recommendations 4 and 5 are the teeth of the FATF's mission. They ensure that countries have the legal muscle to not only prosecute financial criminals and terrorists, but also to dismantle their financial infrastructure piece by piece. By taking away the money, you take away their power. That's a quick overview of FATF Recommendations 3 and 4 in collaboration with Recommendation 5. They are complex, but their goal is simple: to make the world a safer place by cutting off the financial lifelines of criminals and terrorists. It's a continuous battle, and these recommendations provide the global playbook for how to fight it effectively. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this breakdown was helpful and gave you a clearer picture of these crucial AML and CFT measures. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of finance and compliance. Drop any questions you have in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. See you in the next one. Thank you once again.